Hey folks, today I want to share with you a development timeline of jazz music as it develops out of blues. Um, so Timeline from blues. Okay, so this is a very general kind of timeline, and normally I wouldn't do anything like this, but I just wanted to try to put something together for you to kind of show you how jazz progressed in the 1900s, starting from kind of before 1900, where we had blues. Hopefully you can see that on the screen there. And early 1900s, which we had, ragtime. Early jazz, you could call it. Early jazz. Which, right around that time we have Dixieland. And the whole, New Orleans. The whole New Orleans style. I'm going to put on some more light, actually. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Into 1920, we get into New Orleans and then Chicago. Chicago styles. So it's happening in another place. And let's see. And we get into like classic, classic blues over here. In the 20s. We get into boogie, kind of boogie woogie style, and which kind of becomes kind of a Kansas City style in the 30s, which really leads to swing. Which maybe I should write a few of these things in red. Which leads to swing, which is a big deal for jazz music. Swing then kind of leads to bebop in the early 40s. And where are we going from here? In the 40s we have rhythm and blues over here. Rhythm and blues. So that blues tradition, continues, of course. You can kind of see the timeline. Alright. Then we get into, early 50s, rock and roll. How many times can one person drop a pen in a video? It's so silly. Okay. And bebop then becomes, in the 50s, cool. A cool era of playing jazz. Which, this is kind of led by Miles Davis. On a lot of levels, he's right there too. But that's pretty early for Miles. In any case, in the 40s I'm talking about. Okay, and then we get over here, so cool, we've got Tristano and that whole school of playing jazz in the, early 50s, which kind of goes to this West Coast, well, not in the 60s, but this we'll stay in the 50s here, which is like a West Coast scene, that West Coast cool scene. You've got, and there was a lot of experimentation or experiments going on at that same time. over there. And then we've got, which leads to, you know, 50s and late 50s, which leads to hard bop. Kind of hard bop, mid 50s to late 50s. And lots of great, you know, 60s hard bop, a lot of great records, Blue Note and all kinds of stuff. And then we get into like modal, you know, modal playing in the early 60s, and free jazz, you know, Ornette Coleman and all kinds of good stuff in the 60s, early 60s. And then we've got kind of we've got this development of blues, you know, which, you know, we've got, you know, soul music in the 60s, big time. In the 70s, jazz moves to electronic jazz, or electric sound, or fusion, you know. We've got this electric thing happening in the 70s. And then 80s, there was a revival of hard bop and bebop in the jazz scene, and lots of kind of a mix of different styles has happened, you know, from 1980 to present. So there's just all kinds of mishmash of styles, you know, jazz music taking from all kinds of different styles, world music, and just about anything you can think of. And really, that's kind of all I wanted to say about it. There's a much larger discussion, of course, and maybe sometime we'll kind of go through all of these and just name some of the musicians that are really worth checking out. Maybe I'll do another video on that. But I just kind of wanted to give you a basic jazz timeline, and I hope I did it some justice. I'm sure that somebody somewhere is going to tell me some things that I missed, but please let me know. I will add some stuff in. And thanks so much for watching. Hope I wasn't standing in front of the screen too much. And please subscribe to these videos if you like them. Good night, everybody.